Good evening, everyone. I'm honored to have this chance to introduce to you all the project I am participating currently, which is in its many facets related to the digital humanities. The name of the project is Global Integration of Chinese Ancient Books. And I am gonna give the introduction in 5 parts: brief introduction, project background, working steps, progresses achieved, and problems. With the presentation, I hope more specialists could get interested and join us. One point I need to clarify, I have revised the title of my presentation, but the content remained unchanged. So firstly, I would talk about I would explain the project briefly. The global integration of Chinese ancient books started in December 2018. The subject of the project is the Chinese ancient books and documents stored outside mainland China. The project aims at thorough investigating and cataloging, selective digitizing of rare and good editions absent from mainland China collections, and compiling, doing integrated researches on them. The ultimate goal is to build a comprehensive archive system for the books and documents so as to provide documentary support for international cultural exchange and sinologists around the world. And Shandong University, that's where I am from, is the executive entity for this project. So next I will talk about the academic background of the project. The project is well founded on decades of academic work with traditional Chinese texts at Shandong University, which can eventually date back to the scholarship of Professor Gao Heng. In 2010, Shandong University started Zihai Compiling and Research Project with its main scope to compile and research the books in China and abroad. With the unremitting efforts, they have been fruitful achievements, arousing extensive attentions. Up till 2020, 471 volumes have been published within the project. And for the next part, I would like to talk about the steps we take within the project. So step 1, we need to have a preliminary understanding of the quantities of Chinese ancient books in each library, as well as the detailed information on the editions. As we all know, there has already been a lot of catalogs on Chinese ancient collections published by different libraries around the world in different historical eras, according to different standards. With our investigation, we plan firstly to have a unified modification of the extant catalogs. It is a perfect opportunity to put in place a most updated cataloging system before selecting rare editions for digitizing. When circumstances deem it necessary, we would propose and fund to complement or compile library-specific catalogs of Chinese ancient collections. And of course, that will be done with the help of the librarians and specialists around the world. Now I would like to take Princeton, for example, to explain the step 1 of our project. So as we all know, there have been several catalogs in the history of the Chinese collections in East Asian Library of Princeton. First time, the catalog is headed by Gillis. And the second time it's by Wang Chongming, Mr. Wang Chongming, and the third time by Mr. Qu Wanli and Professor Frederick Mote. And there is still a fourth time, which is done by Chang Bide and Wu Zhefu. And also specialists from Peking also cataloged a marked format catalog for the guest collection in Princeton. In spite of all the cataloging works done before, still a new project of cataloging for Princeton collection is well on the way. The reasons are none of the catalogs is exhaustive. And the second is there are problems with extant catalogs. We are now cooperating with the scholars from Tianjin Normal University to carry on with a new cataloging program with the help of Dr. and Director Martin Hydra. So next is step 2, which is selecting the titles that are not within the collections of mainland China. And our method is, after the investigation or the cataloging work, we'll get a detailed picture of the books, and by way of comparing with the mainland China collections, the absent ones would arise. So next step, step 3. We need to apply for the digitizing and the authorization for potential publishing. For this step, sometimes we can get the images and authorization easily, but sometimes the whole process can be really tricky. The international relations can also inflict tremendous impacts upon the communication. There could be some kind of hostility from the host institution, despite our clarification and assurance to attend to intellectual property problems and copyright issues. We need more time to showcase our sincerity and persuade our counterparts that the cause we are carrying out is for the good of all people that are interested in Chinese documents and culture. So that would be a big problem for us. And step 4. As we get the catalogs, the images selected, and the precise authorization, we started to input the related contents into our database, which is now still under construction. Clearly, this calls for the collaboration between specialists in cataloging and Chinese traditional texts, as well as IT technology, and the whole construction is super time-consuming. In this PPT, in this PowerPoint, I would like to talk about the progresses we have made till now. Now we have signed a contract with the British Library, the Bibliothèque Nationale de France, the Russian State Library, etc., for cataloging and for selective digitizing. In the BL and the BNF, we have almost finished the cataloging work, and the imaging process is going on well. In Japan, we have got the authorization of publishing for about 150 titles of ancient books in Chinese from Hausa Banko Library, Nagoya University Library, Jisen Women's University Library, etc. In America, we have been cooperating with the influential professor, Mr. Li Guoqing, for the whole picture. We engage both official and personal ways for the digitizing. And in our way of carrying out the project, we have also have a lot of problems. The first one I would like to talk about is the COVID-19 situation. With the COVID-19 going on, it becomes impossible to travel abroad to communicate our project face-to-face with overseas institutes, let alone sending experts to libraries overseas to catalog. For example, some of our catalogers had been planning to visit Japan before this new national curfew, and we have no idea what will happen tomorrow with the persistent epidemic. What is more, the global political environment is growing worse for cultural exchange among certain countries. Problems number 2 I would like to talk about today is about personnel. The process of cataloging and selecting rare and good editions of Chinese ancient books requires specialty in Chinese textual bibliography and in edition identification. And we are not always lucky enough to get the best ones. So to deal with the problem, we organize a bunch of experts to nominate the qualification of the catalog output. And also we provide online and on-site trainings with raw materials as well as digital images. And for the third problem, that is fund. Fund is always important, and working abroad in many parts of the world other than China incurs higher working and living costs. The digitizing itself sometimes needs space, manpower, and other requirements, which bring about the expenditures. Under the COVID-19 situation, nearly all economy entities cut down their budgets on cultural projects. And the next problem is a very important one, that is the data organization. With all the data we get, how should we organize it in the most possible efficient way? It involves the way we build up a database, among other publishing blueprints. There have been so many databases nowadays. A lot of them we call zombie database, for there is no schema to update data, no a feasible search interface. Some of them are built merely for the sake of building. We have always bear in mind that for our database, we need to incorporate the function of online editing, searching, and publishing, and we'll for sure make it a lively one. The last part I want to talk about is about the perspectives that overseas libraries hold towards us. That is, how do libraries see the project? We try to investigate to register and digitize the overseas Chinese ancient collections in a unified mode, so that in the future, when the project bears its fruits, the benefit is for all of us, indiscriminate of nation, sex, or discipline. And we are non-profit. We intend to get no commercial interests, only academic ones, and we'll always bear in mind the copyright problems and authorization procedures. In a word, we welcome all that feel responsible to get involved in our project. And in my last PowerPoint, I would like to talk about our visions. Vision one is to provide documentary support to enhance the utilization of documents. It would be such a pity if all the books remain on the shelves with few people know their existence, let alone study them. And our vision two is to promote comprehensive study with the help of all the books we registered or digitized. That's all for my presentation. Thank you for giving me the chance to do it. Thank you, that's all.